Don't ignore this video. If it appeared for you, it wasn't by chance. There's a book, not made of paper, but of pure information, that's programmed to reach a select group of people before tomorrow. And the fact that you're here means you're on the list. In the next few seconds, I'm going to reveal the first sign that confirms you're one of those people, and what happens if you ignore it. Think fast. In the last few days, have you felt a strange sensation that something big is about to happen? Or have you seen numbers repeating insistently? This isn't your imagination. It's the first step of activation. Only 1% of people are being contacted at this very moment to receive this knowledge this month. And what's in this book will completely change the rules of the game in your life. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm going to show you can't be unseen. If you've already felt this calling, comment, "I'm ready." By accepting the call, you enter a flow of accelerated time. Forget the idea that days follow one another in the same way. Ancient wisdom teaches that time operates in cycles of power, and December is not just a month, but the peak of one of these cycles. It is an energetic portal that opens to facilitate a quantum shift in your life, making the impossible possible. Think of this month as a peak of cosmic energy. The veil between your current reality and the one you wish to create is thinner than ever. Your intentions and thoughts now have amplified power of manifestation, allowing evolutionary leaps to happen quickly and decisively. The universe has programmed this moment for your transformation, but the energy can only be harnessed by those who are conscious and ready. The 1% who respond to the call understand that this window won't stay open forever. The universe operates with precision, not infinite patience. The opportunity presented now is unique and calibrated for this specific cycle. If ignored, the ease and power of this moment will not be repeated in the same way. Every missed portal has an energy cost. Ignoring this window doesn't mean nothing will happen. The energy of change that has been activated within you needs to go somewhere. If not used consciously, it becomes a chaotic force, manifesting as crises that force the change you have refused to make by choice. The internal pressure builds until something in your life inevitably breaks. The final choice is simple. Will you use this wave of power to your advantage, or will you be swept away by it? Consciously crossing the portal means building your new reality with the help of the cosmos. Being pushed through it means having your old life forcibly ripped away. The instant you decide to jump, a powerful force surges from within you to stop you. The moment you decide to change, a subtle voice emerges to stop you. It whispers, "That's nonsense. Leave it for later." Suddenly, exhaustion and doubt overwhelm you. This isn't you. It's your inner guardian, a survival mechanism whose sole function is to keep you trapped in your comfort zone, even if it's a comfortable and unhappy prison. This force, called the shadow or self-sabotage, is not your enemy. It was created to protect you from past traumas and disappointments. Now, it sees your quest for freedom as a deadly threat. Your transformation means the death of your old self, the only identity this guardian knows how to keep safe, preferring known pain to unknown pleasure. Sabotage is effective because it uses your own fears and failures against you. It convinces you that you're not good enough and that it's safer to stay where you are. The guardian is like a jailer who has become attached to the prisoner, doing everything to ensure that he never tries to escape, constantly reminding him of the cell walls and the danger that exists outside. The 1% who advance don't fight against this guardian. They use it as a compass. They know that the intensity of internal resistance is proportional to the size of the power that awaits them. The louder the fear screams, the greater the quantum leap to come. Fear ceases to be a stop sign and becomes the signpost pointing directly to their treasure. The key is not to fight, but to observe. Acknowledge the voice of fear, thank it for its attempt at protection, and choose to move forward anyway. By doing so, you stop being a victim of your mind and become its master. You stand before the door that the guardian protects, but now you know that the key has always been with you. The question is, how do you cross that door without using force? The answer to overcoming the guardian without fighting lies not in brute force, but in a subtle and powerful process known to the ancients as alchemy. True alchemy was never about transforming lead into physical gold. That was a metaphor for a much deeper process, the transmutation of consciousness. It's about taking the lead of your densest emotions, such as the fear, doubt, and anger that the guardian uses against you, and transforming them into the gold of wisdom, inner peace, and personal power. You don't eliminate fear, you use it as fuel. This process of inner transformation is called the great work, the knowledge that has found you, the book that is revealing itself to you, acts as the secret fire of the alchemists. It is the catalyst that accelerates this transmutation. When you expose yourself to this new truth, it begins to illuminate all the dark corners of your mind. Everything that is false, everything that is not aligned with your true self, begins to surface to be burned away. Your excuses, your limiting beliefs, the masks you wear to please others, all of this begins to dissolve in the heat of this fire. This is a process that, from the outside, may seem chaotic. It may feel like your life is falling apart. Old relationships may end, jobs that no longer make sense may become unbearable, and you may feel a profound sense of disorientation, as if the ground is disappearing beneath your feet. But understand, what is crumbling is not your world, it is your prison. Every structure that falls is a chain that breaks. It is the necessary demolition so that a much grander temple can be built in its place. Every moment of discomfort, every difficult emotion that emerges, is a sign that purification is at work. It is the emotional poison leaving your system. Most people, when they feel this discomfort, run back to their distractions to numb the pain. But the initiate in alchemy does the opposite. He welcomes the discomfort. He sits with the emotion, observes it without judgment, and allows the secret fire to consume it completely. He knows that the only way out is through it. In doing so, the energy that was trapped in that emotion is released and integrated as power. You are literally becoming a new person on a cellular and energetic level. Your cells are beginning to vibrate at a higher frequency. Your energy field, which was once dense and full of blockages, is beginning to become clearer and brighter. You are beginning to feel a lightness you haven't felt in years, perhaps ever. Chronic anxiety is beginning to give way to an underlying calm. Emotional reactivity is decreasing, and you are becoming less susceptible to the dramas of the outside world. You are shedding the old self to make room for the new. This purification process is the key to getting past the guardian. For the guardian feeds on your dense emotions and false beliefs. When you transmute those emotions and dissolve those beliefs, you take away its food. It no longer has anything to feed on, nothing left to cling to. It is not defeated, it is integrated. The energy it used to keep you trapped now becomes part of your power. The force that held you back now becomes the force that propels you forward. Internal alchemy prepares you for what comes next. It cleans your lenses of perception so you can see reality as it truly is, not through the dirty filter of fear and trauma. It sharpens your senses for a new form of communication, a language the universe has always been speaking, but which you couldn't hear because of the internal noise. Purification is not the end of the journey, it's preparation for the true beginning. But what happens when the smoke from the burning dissipates and your eyes truly open for the first time? As the alchemical purification process progresses, something extraordinary begins to happen. The world around you, which previously seemed mute, random, and often hostile, begins to speak to you. Your senses, now cleansed of the noise of fear and doubt, open to a secret language that has always been present, the language of signs and synchronicities. Thoth, the master of divine communication, did not merely teach writing to humankind. He revealed that all of creation is a living text, a sacred book waiting to be read by those with eyes to see and ears to hear. You start noticing patterns that previously went unnoticed. Numerical sequences like 1111, 2222, or 444 appear on the clock, on license plates, on receipts, with a frequency that defies any logical explanation. You think of someone you haven't seen in years, and on the same day they call you or you run into them on the street. You have a question about which way to go, and the answer appears on a book cover, a billboard, or in a conversation you overhear. These events are not mere coincidences. They are direct messages. These are confirmations from the universe, nods from cosmic intelligence saying, yes, you are on the right path. Continue. Each synchronicity is a point of light illuminating your path, a spiritual GPS guiding you step by step. The rational mind, trained in linear logic and skepticism, cannot understand this language. It tries to dismiss it as chance or confirmation bias. That is why this communication is not received by the head, but by the heart. It requires a state of presence and receptivity, a keen intuition that you developed during purification. When you learn to read and trust these signs, the paralyzing anxiety about the future begins to disappear. The need to control every detail of your life dissolves because you realize, viscerally, that you are not alone on this journey. You understand that you are in a constant and loving dialogue with an infinitely greater and wiser intelligence than yourself. An intelligence that is actively orchestrating events for your highest good. The feeling of existential loneliness is replaced by a profound sense of belonging and connection. You become a conscious co-creator of your reality. Instead of fighting against the current of life, you learn to flow with it, using the signs as guides to know when to act, when to wait, when to turn left or right. Life ceases to be a battle and becomes a dance, a magical collaboration between your intention and the universe's response. You begin to live in a state of wonder, like a child discovering magic in the world for the first time, because magic becomes your new normal. This dialogue with the universe prepares you for the next phase. It builds your confidence and strengthens your faith, not a blind faith in dogma, but a faith based on your direct and undeniable experience. You saw the signs, you followed the guidance, and you saw the miraculous results in your own life. This confidence is the foundation upon which your new reality will be built. You have learned to listen to the whispers of the universe, and that is why it no longer needs to shout at you through crises. You are now in a state of alignment, ready to receive the deepest revelations. You have answered the call, crossed the portal, integrated the guardian, and learned the language of the cosmos. You are in the anteroom of power, on the threshold of the great revelation. The universe has guided you here, step by step, preparing your body, mind, and spirit for what is to come. There is one last step before the final secret is delivered. A step that most people, in their haste, completely ignore. Now that you are in dialogue with the universe, the temptation is to act, to do, to build. But before any great manifestation, before the final revelation, there is a crucial step that most people miss out on due to sheer anxiety. The step of silence. True magic doesn't happen in the noise of desperate action, but in the stillness of absolute certainty. Taoist traditions call this Wu Wei, effortless action. It's not about laziness or inaction, but about action that flows in perfect harmony with the rhythm of the universe without resistance. It's the calm in the eye of the storm. Imagine an experienced archer. He doesn't shoot the arrow hastily. He pulls the bowstring to its maximum tension, aligns the sights, and for a brief but intense instant, he stops. Everything becomes silent. Breathing, thoughts, the world around him. In that moment of absolute stillness, all the power accumulates, and then he simply releases it. The arrow flies with precision and force, not because of the effort of releasing it, but because of the power accumulated in the silence. Your manifestation works the same way. The average mind, conditioned by the productivity society, believes it always needs to be doing something. It gets agitated, plans, worries, tries to force results. But this mental agitation creates an energetic static, a noise that blocks the clear signal you send to the universe. Haste and anxiety communicate only one thing: lack of confidence. They tell the universe, I don't believe you'll deliver, so I need to do everything myself. And the universe, which operates by the law of the mirror, responds, okay, then do it yourself. And the process becomes difficult and exhausting. Elevated consciousness, on the other hand, understands the power of pausing. After setting your intention, after taking the inspired steps that the signs have shown you, you become still. You enter a state of confident surrender. It is a silent and powerful declaration that you have done your part and now fully trust that the universe will do its part. You observe, with the serenity of a king who has already given the order and knows it will be fulfilled, how the pieces of the puzzle fit together perfectly. This silence is not empty. It is fertile, full of potential. It is in this space of non-resistance, of inner calm, that the frequency of your desire perfectly synchronizes with the frequency of its fulfillment. Agitation delays delivery. Calm accelerates it. The universe awaits your stillness to deliver the package that was already addressed to you from the beginning. It is a final test of trust. Do you trust enough to let go of control? Do you trust enough to remain silent and simply receive? That 1% knows that the power lies not in chasing the butterfly, but in remaining still in the garden and allowing it to land on you. This state of receptive silence is what finally allows the book to fully open. The information it contains is subtle and cannot be heard amidst the noise of the anxious mind. It can only be received in the stillness of your being. You become a clean, empty vessel, ready to be filled with the ultimate truth. You have made the entire journey of preparation, cleared the ground, aligned the energy, and now you wait, in sacred silence, for the revelation that will change everything. You stand on the edge of a precipice, not a precipice of danger, but of infinite potential. Silence is the bridge to the other side. You can feel the vibration of truth pulsing, drawing ever closer. The veil is about to be torn completely. The question echoing in this silence is no longer what should I do, but rather, who am I really? And the answer is about to be revealed. What is written on the final pages of this invisible book you have pursued until now? The silence deepens, and the final revelation arrives. Not like thunder, but like a whisper in the center of your soul. A truth so simple and so profound that it shakes the foundations of everything you believed yourself to be. The secret guarded by Thoth, the truth understood by only 1% of humanity. Is this the book you sought? The knowledge you pursued? The power you longed for? Was never outside of you. There is no physical book arriving in the mail. The journey to this point was not to find something new. It was an initiation process to remind you of what you have always been. You are the book, all the wisdom of the universe, the secrets of creation and manifestation, the codes to unlock any reality. All of this is already written on the pages of your own consciousness, encoded in your own spiritual DNA. You are not a reader seeking information. You are the entire library, an infinite consciousness that has forgotten itself. The calling, the confrontation with the guardian, the alchemy of transformation, the language of signs, the power of silence. None of this was to give you something you didn't have. It was to remove the thick layers of dust and forgetfulness that prevented you from reading yourself. Thoth is not an external master you should follow or worship. He is an archetype, a symbol of the power of the divine scribe, the creator of realities, that exists within you. You are not a disciple seeking a master. You are the master awakening to your own mastery. The idea that power, salvation, or wisdom lies somewhere out there, in a guru, a religion, or a sacred book, is the fundamental lie that keeps humanity imprisoned. It is the ultimate illusion that is shattered in this moment of revelation. From this moment on, the game changes completely. Destiny ceases to be something that happens to you and becomes the story you choose to write every second. Your thoughts are no longer random events. They are the ink. Your emotions are no longer uncontrollable reactions. They are the colors that bring your creation to life. Your words are no longer empty sounds. They are the decrees that shape matter. You stop being a character in someone else's story and assume your rightful place as the author of your own saga. The cycle of the search is complete because the seeker finally realizes that he is what he was searching for. The drop of water understands that it is not in the ocean, but that it is the entire ocean contained in a single drop. Separation was the only illusion. By recognizing this, you do not become arrogant or egocentric. On the contrary, you become profoundly humble, for you understand that the same divine power that exists within you exists in everything and everyone. You have simply become aware of it. This realization is not an endpoint, but the true starting point. It's like being born again, but this time, aware of your creative power. Life will no longer be about reacting to circumstances, but about creating circumstances from your inner state. You no longer need to wait for permission or an external sign to be happy, prosperous, or free. You are the source of all of that. The power to decree your reality is in your hands, or rather, in your consciousness. You are the book. The pages are blank from now on. The story of your past was merely the preface, the journey of forgetting that brought you here. Now, with pen in hand and awakened consciousness, the only remaining question, the question that will define the rest of your existence, is no longer who am I, but rather who do I choose to be from now on. The story is yours to write. Now that you know it's the book, the next question is, how do you write in it? How do you transform the awareness of your power into real-world results? The answer lies in the oldest and most powerful tool known to humankind. The word, Thoth, the master of wisdom, taught that words are not merely sounds that describe reality. They are frequencies that create reality. Every word you pronounce is a command sent to the universe. And the most powerful declaration of all begins with two simple words, I am. This is not a positive affirmation to make you feel better. It is a decree. It is an act of rewriting the source code of your identity. When you say I am prosperous or I am healthy, you are not trying to convince yourself or asking the universe. You are stating a fact. You are issuing a quantum command that informs every cell in your body and every particle of energy around you what your new truth is. The universe and your subconscious mind do not respond to requests, wishes, or maybes. They respond to authority. A statement made from a place of doubt is just noise, static that dissipates into thin air. It communicates uncertainty, and the universe, like a mirror, reflects that same uncertainty back to you. But a statement made from that place of silent certainty you've cultivated becomes an irrefutable command. It carries the weight of your conviction. Reality, which is far more flexible than you've been taught to believe, has no choice but to begin reorganizing itself around your newly declared identity. You cease to be an effect of circumstances and become the primary cause of your experience. The world stops happening to you and begins to happen through you. You no longer react to the script. You write it in real time, every moment. The secret to making this work is feeling. The word is the arrow, but feeling is the strength of the bow. Saying I am rich while feeling poor creates an energetic conflict that negates the command. You need to feel the truth of your statement even before it manifests in the physical world. Close your eyes and feel the sensation of already having what you desire. What would it be like to wake up without financial worries? What would it be like to move through the world with a body full of vitality? Feel that emotion now. This combination of word and feeling is the language the universe understands perfectly. You need to abandon the victim identity once and for all. The victim begs, pleads, and complains. The Creator declares, commands, and takes charge. Stop saying I want to be happy and start declaring I am happiness. Stop waiting for health and start affirming I am perfect health. This subtle shift in language creates a massive change in your vibrational frequency. You cease to be someone who is seeking something and become the very energy of that which you seek. And when you become the energy, physical manifestation is merely an inevitable consequence. This practice of conscious declaration begins to reprogram decades of negative conditioning. Each time you issue an I am decree, you weaken the old neural connections of fear and limitation and strengthen the new pathways of possibility and power. You are literally building a new brain, a new mind that operates from a paradigm of creation, not reaction. You become the programmer of your own reality, instead of being a character running on a program written by others. You are rewriting the pages of your own book. Each statement is a new sentence, a new paragraph that defines the next chapter of your life. But a written word, however powerful, needs something to fix it on paper, to become permanent. A spoken decree needs an anchor in the physical world so it doesn't dissipate into thin air. How do you seal this contract with the universe and ensure that your word becomes matter? A word, even the most powerful, evaporates if it is not anchored in the physical world. This is where most people fail. They make their declarations, but then revert to the same old habits, the same inertia, hoping that something magical will happen. But the word needs to become flesh. It needs a gesture, an action, to seal the contract with the universe. And here's the secret. It doesn't have to be a gigantic action. Change doesn't require a terrifying leap of faith. It requires a single step, a minimal gesture that proves to the universe and to yourself that your decision is real and unwavering. Think of it as an energetic signature. When you sign a contract, that small act of moving the pen on the paper makes the entire document legally valid. Similarly, a small, intentional action validates your energetic decree. If your decree is about wisdom, don't wait to read an entire library. Pick up a book now and read a single page with complete presence. If your decree is about health, don't plan a radical diet for tomorrow. Drink a glass of water now, with the intention that it is purifying every cell in your body. The size of the action is completely irrelevant. What matters is the intention and the immediacy. If you declared prosperity, don't expect to win the lottery. Go to your wallet, organize your bills, throw away old receipts. This small act of order sends a powerful message. I am ready to manage more. Each small step, executed with total focus, is a ritualistic act. It's your signature at the end of the page you just wrote in your book. It's physical proof that your choice is not just a passing thought, but a commitment. This immediate gesture breaks the most powerful force that keeps people trapped. Inertia. Inertia is the tendency to continue doing what you've always done. A body at rest tends to remain at rest. But the moment you take a small action aligned with your new identity, you generate momentum. You transform the potential energy of your intention into kinetic energy. You create a small wave, and the universe, by its nature, cannot help but amplify that wave, bringing more opportunities and resources to support your movement. The journey of 1,000 miles doesn't begin with a perfect plan or a complete map. It begins with the courage to take the first step out the door, without knowing exactly what you'll find. Perfectionism is one of the Guardian's most subtle tools to keep you paralyzed. It tells you that you need to know everything before you begin. But the truth is that clarity doesn't come from thought, it comes from action. You take one step, and the next step reveals itself. You act, and the universe reacts. So, what is your first step? What is the smallest gesture you can make, right now, that anchors your new declaration in reality? Don't delay, don't leave it for tomorrow. Procrastination is the language of doubt. Immediate action is the language of certainty. Do it now. This act of faith in motion is what separates the dreamer from the creator. The dreamer lives in the mind, in the world of possibilities. The creator lives in the now, bringing possibilities into reality through action. You took the first step. You broke the inertia. The wheel began to turn in a new direction. But a single action doesn't sustain a new reality. It's like starting a car and then turning off the engine. The car will stop. How do you keep the engine running? How do you transform a single act of power into a permanent state of being? Maintaining this new reality is not a one-time event, but the maintenance of a state. This is where true mastery is forged. It's like tuning a radio station. You don't turn the dial once and expect your favorite song to play forever. You need to keep the radio on and, more importantly, locked onto that specific frequency, ignoring the other stations that try to interfere with static and hiss. That's the invisible discipline. It's not about brute effort, but about constant energetic coherence. This discipline requires silent vigilance over your thoughts, your words, and your emotions. Every time you allow doubt, complaining, gossip, or fear to pull you off your power frequency, the signal you send to the universe weakens. It's like changing the radio dial for a moment. The music stops and static begins. Every time you consciously choose to return to your center of certainty, gratitude, and power, you strengthen the signal. You are telling the universe, no, this is my station. This is my reality. It's not about striving for perfection. You won't become a master overnight. The conditioned mind, your guardian, will still try to pull you back into old patterns. There will be days when you feel powerful and days when doubt seems overwhelming. Mastery isn't about never falling, but about getting back up faster each time. Practice isn't about being perfect, but about practicing the return. It's a daily, subtle, and silent work of choosing, moment by moment, the vibration of your new identity. Think of this as focus training. Where you place your attention, your energy flows. If you focus on problems, bad news, what's missing in your life, you're feeding the frequency of scarcity. If you deliberately shift your focus to gratitude, to solutions, to what you already have and what you are creating. You feed the frequency of abundance. This conscious choice of focus is your main working tool at this stage. It's your daily discipline. With time and consistent practice, this new frequency becomes your default state. It ceases to be something you need to strive to achieve and becomes who you are. Your natural vibration rises. It's like strengthening a muscle. At first, it's difficult and painful, but with training, the movement becomes easy and automatic. Your new identity, which at first seemed like a fantasy, becomes second nature. And it is at this point that the real magic begins to happen visibly. External reality, which is nothing more than a mirror of your inner state, has no choice but to permanently reflect your new self. Things don't change by chance. They change because you changed the cause, which is your own consciousness. You are no longer trying to change the world outside. You are focusing on the only thing you can control, your inner state. And by doing so, you indirectly command change in everything around you. You become a master of your own energy. You learn not to let external circumstances or other people's emotions dictate your vibrational state. You become the cause, not the effect. You are the thermostat that sets the ambient temperature, not the thermometer that merely measures it. But what happens in the outside world when you reach this level of vibrational mastery? How does the mirror respond when the image it reflects changes so drastically? As you sustain this new frequency with discipline, the most extraordinary and undeniable phenomenon begins to unfold. The world around you begins to reorganize itself, as if it were a stage being reassembled for a new play. People and situations that vibrate at your old frequency of fear, complaint, and limitation begin to naturally drift away, without drama or conflict. It's as if you no longer speak the same language. The space they leave is quickly filled by new people and opportunities that resonate with your new state of power and abundance. This isn't luck, destiny, or magic in a fantastical sense. It's physics. The universe operates under the law of the mirror, also known as the law of attraction or the law of resonance. It doesn't judge, it doesn't favor, it doesn't punish. It simply reflects with impeccable precision the dominant state of your consciousness. If you consistently emit a frequency of frustration and scarcity, the universal mirror will show you more situations that will give you reasons to feel frustrated and lacking. It's simply validating your inner truth. On the other hand, when you maintain a frequency of power, gratitude, and certainty, the mirror floods you with more experiences that validate this state. Coincidences become daily occurrences. The right person calls you at the exact moment. The solution to a problem appears out of nowhere. The money you need emerges from an unexpected source. The world seems to conspire in your favor. But the truth is that it is only responding to your new vibration. You changed the image, and the reflection had to change along with it. Understanding this on a deep level is the end of all victimhood. It's the end of guilt. There's no one left to blame for your reality. Not the government, not the economy, not your parents, not your past. Every aspect of your external life is direct feedback. A message from the universe showing you the quality of energy you are emitting. If you don't like what you see in the mirror of your life, there's no point in yelling at the reflection, trying to break it, or ignoring it. The only solution is to change yourself. This realization is both terrifying and incredibly liberating. Terrifying because it removes all your excuses. Liberating because it puts total power back in your hands. You realize you were never trapped. You were always the creator, even when unconsciously creating a reality of suffering. Now, you can begin to create consciously. You look at your life not as a sentence, but as a blank canvas, and you are the artist. The people around you who haven't gone through this transformation won't understand. they'll call you lucky. They might even feel envious, without realizing that the same power is available to them. They see the result, the reflection in the mirror, but they don't see the inner work, the invisible discipline, the alchemical transmutation you've undertaken to change your image. You don't need to explain, just continue being the beacon, because your very existence becomes proof that change is possible. You become a master at reading the mirror. If something undesirable appears in your reality, you no longer react with anger or despair. You stop and ask, what within me is creating this? What misaligned belief or emotion is being reflected here? You use reality as your diagnostic tool to continue refining yourself. But when you reach this level of power and manifestation, when your external reality becomes a reflection of your inner greatness, the most subtle and dangerous test of all arises. At the peak of your newfound capacity, when clarity, power, and abundance become your natural state, you encounter the ultimate test of the spiritual ego, the temptation to hold on. After so much effort to escape scarcity, the fear of losing it can become overwhelming. Many reach this point and subtly begin to build a new fortress, this time made of gold. They cling to their newly acquired power, knowledge, money, and awakened identity. And at the very moment they close themselves off to protect what they have, the flow that brought all of this to them begins to diminish. True mastery, however, lies in understanding a fundamental universal law. You can only keep what you are willing to let flow. The universe did not give you power and abundance to hoard them in a vault. It transformed you into a channel, a conduit through which this energy could flow into the world. You are not a reservoir to be filled. You are a river to be freely flowing. Stagnant water rots. Flowing water remains fresh and alive. What you hold back out of fear, you lose. What you share with detachment multiplies. This isn't just pretty philosophy, it's spiritual physics. Serving isn't an act of sacrifice or charity in the traditional sense. It's the ultimate strategy for continuous expansion. When you teach what you've learned, when you help others awaken, when you use your resources to create opportunities for others, you're telling the universe, I am an open and reliable channel. Send more because I won't hoard the energy. I will distribute it. The universe, in its infinite intelligence, protects and sustains its most efficient channels. When you become a valuable resource for the evolution of collective consciousness, the flow of abundance and wisdom towards you becomes uninterrupted and ever-increasing. You stop worrying about having enough because you understand that you are not the source, but rather the steward of an infinite source. Your security no longer comes from how much you have stored, but from your constant connection to the flow. This is the paradox of true wealth. The more you give, the more you have. But giving must come from a place of abundance, not scarcity. Giving expecting something in return is still a transaction of the ego. True service is an overflow. Your cup is so full that it naturally begins to overflow and nourish everything around you, effortlessly and without expecting anything in return. You become a sun, shining not because you want to illuminate the planets, but because shining is your nature. Many spiritual gurus fall into this trap. They accumulate followers, power, and money, and then the fear of losing that status corrupts them. They become just another version of the system they criticized, creating dependency instead of freedom. The true master creates other masters. He gives you the tools and shows you the path to your own inner source, so you no longer need him. He celebrates when the student becomes greater than him. You have passed the test of fear, doubt, and inertia. Now you face the test of success. Will you cling to your newfound gold and build a castle to isolate yourself? Or will you use that gold to build bridges? Your choice here determines whether you will remain on a plateau of personal power or ascend to a level of universal service, where joy and abundance become as natural as breathing. But to build those bridges, you must first undergo one last, profound transformation. The culmination of this entire journey, the step that follows mastering the flow, is the final initiation, the symbolic death of your individual self. The ancient mystery schools of Egypt, under the tutelage of Thoth, understood this principle perfectly. For the initiate to be reborn as a being of light, as a conscious God, he first needed to die completely to his limited human identity. This is not a physical event, but a spiritual surrender so profound that it amounts to a death of the ego. It is the moment when you let go of control absolutely. It's the point where you abandon the need to know what comes next, the need to have a plan, the need to be someone. You trust the flow of the universe so completely that you merge with it. It's the final dissolution of the illusion of separation. It's the visceral, not just intellectual, understanding that you are not a drop in the ocean, but the entire ocean experiencing itself through the perspective of a drop. It's the scariest step of the whole journey because the ego interprets it as total annihilation. And in a way, he's right. It's the annihilation of the false identity you've carried your whole life. It's the death of the self defined by a name, a profession, a personal history, traumas, and achievements. All of that is surrendered to the fire of transformation. You voluntarily enter the dark night of the soul, a space of absolute emptiness, with no guarantees of what you'll find on the other side. It's the ultimate test of faith. Only those who have the courage to enter the tomb of their own limited identity can experience true resurrection. Most people reach the edge of this abyss and retreat. The fear of losing oneself is the deepest fear that exists. But the initiate knows that what is dying is not their true being, but only the mask that covered it. They know that only those who die to what they were can finally be born into what they are destined to be. It is a leap into the void, a total surrender to the intelligence of the cosmos. You let go of the reins and allow the divine to take complete control of your life. By doing this, you transcend the cycle of cause and effect, of karma and personal effort. You stop creating your reality and allow divine reality to flow through you without distortion. Your actions become perfectly aligned with the universal purpose. Your will becomes one with the divine will. You no longer act from personal desire, but from pure inspiration. You become a living oracle, a perfect instrument in the hands of the Creator. This state is what the Masters called enlightenment, samadhi, or the kingdom of heaven. It is a state of peace and bliss that does not depend on any external condition. It is ultimate freedom. It is not an escape from the world, but an ability to live in the world without being affected by it. You become the rock in the middle of the river, motionless, while the turbulent waters of life pass by you without disturbing you. This symbolic death is not an end, but the true beginning of an eternal life, not in the sense of a body that never dies, but of a consciousness that knows it was never born and therefore can never die. You recognize your nature as pure, timeless, and infinite consciousness. But what happens when you emerge on the other side of this experience? What is life like after dying, before dying? Upon emerging from the tomb of your former identity, you do not return as the same person who entered. You return as ground zero, the fertile silence from which all creation is born. The cycle of seeking is complete, but the journey does not end. It begins again on a completely different octave. You no longer seek, because you know you already are everything. You no longer wait, because you know that time is an illusion. You no longer ask, because you know you are the source itself. You create, you command, you are. The quantum month, that energetic portal that once seemed like an external, annual event, becomes a state of being accessible at any time. You learn to open this portal within yourself whenever you wish, because you realize that the portal was never in time or space, but in your own consciousness. You become the scribe and the book, the artist and the canvas, the creator and the creation, in a continuous cycle of self-discovery and divine expression. Your life transforms from a series of reactions to past events into a deliberate and artistic creation of your next glorious moment. The question that guides your existence is no longer, "What will happen to me?" or "What do I need to do to get what I want?" These are questions of the separate ego. The new question that pulsates at the center of your being is, what does universal intelligence want to express through me now? Your actions cease to be motivated by personal gain and become guided by pure inspiration, by service to the expansion of consciousness, and by the joy of creation itself. You live in a state of perpetual flux. The struggle ceases. Resistance disappears. You move through life with a grace and efficiency that seems superhuman to outside observers. Solutions to challenges appear even before problems solidify. The resources you need materialize at the exact moment they are needed. You are no longer playing the game of life. You have become the game itself, aware of all the rules and capable of altering them with your intention. Duality begins to dissolve. Good and evil, right and wrong, success and failure, all are seen as different faces of the same unity. You stop judging yourself and others, for you understand that each soul is on its own journey of awakening, playing the perfect role it needs to play. Compassion becomes your natural state, not as a feeling of pity, but as a recognition of the unity of all life. You see yourself in every person, in every animal, in every plant. Your physical body also transforms. It becomes less dense, more vibrant. The energy flowing through you rejuvenates and heals you. You become less susceptible to illness, as you understand that most illnesses stem from energetic blockages and emotional conflicts that you have already resolved. Your body becomes what it was always meant to be, a perfectly attuned vehicle for your consciousness to navigate this dimension, a sacred temple for the divinity you know yourself to be. You become a walking paradox. You are in the world, but not of the world. You may possess great wealth, but you are not attached to it. You may have deep relationships, but your peace does not depend on them. You may be extremely powerful, but you act with the deepest humility. You are simultaneously everything and nothing. You are the silent creator, watching your own creation unfold with a serene smile. The journey has brought you back to the beginning, but now you know the place for the first time. You have reached the end of this path of knowledge, but in truth, you are only at the true beginning of your life. The information has been delivered. The map has been drawn. The book has been opened and revealed that blank pages await your pen. Now, as in all crucial moments of your journey, you face a choice that only you can make. You can treat everything you have heard as an interesting story, a fascinating theory, and slowly allow the noise of the world and old programming to cover this truth again, returning to sleep in the matrix. Or you can accept the dizzying truth of who you really are. You can pick up the pen of your intention and begin writing the next chapter of your life, no longer as a character reacting to the plot, but as the sovereign author who decides each scene. The 1% is not an exclusive club with a locked door. It is an open invitation extended to every soul that feels the call to awaken. It is an invitation to stop playing small and reclaim your power and your divine heritage. The choice, as always, is yours. Free will is the most sacred law of the universe. No force can compel you to awaken. But now, you can no longer plead ignorance. You saw behind the curtain. You felt the truth in your cells. To go back to sleep now would be a conscious act of self-imprisonment. The cage door has been opened. You can remain inside, where it is safe and familiar, or you can use your wings and fly into the unknown, into freedom. If you choose freedom, understand that your mission, should you accept it, is not merely to create a wonderful life for yourself. That is only the beginning. Your true mission is to become a beacon. It is to embody this truth so completely that your very presence begins to awaken those around you. Not by preaching or trying to convince anyone, but simply by being living proof that transformation is possible. Your joy becomes a revolutionary act. Your peace becomes a silent protest against the chaos of the world. You become an activator. Wherever you go, your elevated frequency helps dissolve the static of fear in the collective consciousness. You help anchor a new reality on Earth, not through struggle, but through vibration. Each person who awakens becomes a point of light in the planet's energy grid. And when enough points of light ignite, the darkness of illusion simply can no longer sustain itself. That is your part in the greater plan. Don't underestimate the power of your own transformation. Changing your inner world is the most powerful act you can perform to change the outer world. The journey is yours, but the victory belongs to everyone. The universe is waiting for your decision. The pages are blank. The pen is in your hand. The story of your past does not define your future. Only your next thought, your next word, your next action will. What will you write? If you've made it to the end of this video, you've already proven that you're not part of the majority. You heard the call and didn't ignore it. This shows that your consciousness is ready for the next level. To let me know that you are one of the people who completed this journey, leave the phrase "I am the author of my destiny" in the comments. If this content has helped you in any way, and you feel called to contribute to the growth of this channel, there's a more direct way to do it. In the first pinned comment, I've left a link where you can support us. Any help is very important to me and allows me to continue bringing more messages like this to the world. But understand, just the fact that you've watched this far is already a huge help. If you can't contribute, share this video with someone you feel needs to hear this message. But don't leave yet. Your journey doesn't end here. I've prepared a special video for you to take the next step. Content that will delve even deeper into what we've discussed and give you practical tools. Click on the video that's currently appearing on the screen and let's meet there.